I'd also like you to clarify, are there any aspects of opportunity zone designation that would negatively impact well, we don't really have a possible proposal for a homeless facility within that opportunity zone? Are there any thing that would negatively impact the development of that kind of?
To my knowledge, there's no detriment to a proposed low barrier shelter in this area to having an opportunity zone designation. The two are not, one doesn't exclusive, it doesn't, they're not mutually exclusive.
We haven't received any.
We have not received any proposals.
Yeah, and I think if you didn't notice before, Director Stanton was actually in the room earlier, knew that this was on the agenda, and I'm sure we might have heard from her if there were challenges that she saw. So I feel it's important to reassure the community. Charleston is very important to the city of Bremerton. I can remember a few years ago telling Jim Klein, this is the next, big deal, It has so much potential. We're all just waiting for that right opportunity to apply for funding, to get some investment in that area because it's sorely needed. There's definitely the community support for it and engagement with volunteers and so forth. So I want to reassure the community. Also, one of the first questions that council asked was, will this negatively impact any plans or proposal for a shelter? That was one of the first questions we asked, and we were assured that it has no negative impact to that. In fact, I don't know, it might even qualify for funding at some point through Opportunity Zone. I don't know, but certainly there's no brick wall that this, or stop sign, or even speed bump that this puts in any plans to suspect that the timing of this is somehow disingenuous. I'm sorry that that's the perception out there. This opportunity came up, as Director Spencer said, last month, and the turnaround is very quick. I happen to represent Harrison Heights. And one of the reasons that I ran for office and was elected is because we have a huge crater and a loss of thousands of jobs in my district. People don't go to my district to hang out and have a good time on Friday nights, so people don't recognize it. But it's a district full of poverty and full of potential. There's a crater. If you haven't been by, please look at it. It used to be covered with plastic, but the plastic started coming in, 7 acres covered in plastic, and the plastic was breaking down and going into our storm drains. I'm very pleased that Virginia Mason, or Virginia, whatever they're called now, Common Spirit, was very quick to call out their contractor, and that was cleaned up. We now have geese and eagles on that property. I'd love to see housing on that property. I'd love to see our district be reinvigorated with housing and residents who can live and work there and work in Bremerton. So as much as there might be a coincidence in timing, the Sheridan site has been talked about now for, I think, over a year. Certainly we've been talking about the need for a shelter for 2-3 years. The ball's been in the court of our partners now for 2 or 3 years. And so I'm in charge. I need to advocate for my district. I love Charleston. Mr. Flemister, I see you here. And Jim Klein and I have known each other for years. I'd love to get money into that district. Let's work together to make a good Bremerton. And then the resentment that sometimes is felt with people over, oh, it's only for big developers. I'm not a big developer, but I do invest in my community. And some of the projects I invest in are development projects, you know? I don't know whether I'm going to see a return on that, but I'm really proud that I do that. This gives people like me and others an opportunity to invest where we live. It really does. And for those who resent the tax benefit of this kind of an investment, if you own a home, you already get a benefit from the federal government. This housing is for renters, people like me who cannot afford to buy a home. So when we start talking about priorities, let's make sure that we recognize the needs of all of our districts. Thank you. And thank you, Director Spencer. Thank you, Garrett Jackson, for your work. Shipyard workers, the blue-collar workers pay market rate rent. Do I think it's too much? Of course, but it's a standard of living. When you can rent a one-bedroom apartment for $1,600 or $1,700, that is not a luxury apartment. Okay, that's workforce housing. They're small. They're meant for shipyard workers and for others who cannot, like myself, afford to buy a home. And the federal write-offs, I want to remind everybody in this room, if you own a home, you already get a tax benefit through the federal government. So to find fault with a program that's meant to inspire people to invest in their community, to build housing, because it's going to have a federal tax benefit on capital gains. And for capital gains, you have to make a gain on your investment, and that's what you pay on. So it isn't going to remain vacant land. I really encourage all of you to drive up Cherry Avenue and see what we're dealing with here. Those aren't going to be, if we do get a developer in there, which I hope we do, those are not going to be luxury apartments. They're going to be probably the three-story, apartment buildings that we can afford here in Bremerton. So this sense of it's got to be affordable housing, what you're talking about is not affordable housing, it's subsidized housing. And there are other programs for subsidized housing. We have MFTEs, we have a HUD, we have a lot of it. We're going to be coming to the public soon with some data on how much of this Bremerton does, especially compared to the other districts in this county. So to deny this city and my district an opportunity to bring in much needed development, I think that's unethical. And so let's try to put our biases aside. It's thinking haves and have-nots. We could be doing that all day just with the people in this room. What's best for Bremerton? Okay. I think that this is a wonderful opportunity. I didn't want to leave the discussion on a negative note about the incredible work that you've done and the great opportunity that this